Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Soulmates and Palmistry, how to use it to find yours. She has read palms for 60 plus years and documentation of 59,000 plus hands. She is a master palmist and a published author with May I See Your Hands, Palm Reading for Fun, Soulmate Connections, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Relationships, and many, many more. She lectures, teaches, works for entertainment agencies, conducts private readings, works in 30 fairs each year, and is a guest on numerous radio and television shows, including this one. Hosted and produced her own television show, Soulmate Connections, with over 800,000 hits, a 90 to 96% accuracy. In a survey by Alexa, Bing, and Google, won 12th best palmist in the world, 6th best palmistry website in the United States. There is much, much, much more, but that would probably fill up this episode, and we wouldn't have time. So let's welcome back to the show, Myrna Lou Govan.
Well, thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. Welcome back.
I'm looking forward to this.
You were on our first season of The Seance.
It was number 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you on now? Like 22?
Yeah. By the time, when we're by this recording, this is season 26. So, but right now
it's been a long time.
We're going into the 24th and into the 25th season. So, yeah. So it's starting to feel like an actual, like television production company. So, but that's where you start. That's where it all starts. And, but so how did this start? How did you start?
Well, I started when I was 10 years old. I went to the hospital where my mother was a nurse to get a ride home from school. And I took 2 buses to get there, had to transfer. I showed up and she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I want to ride home with you," because I wanted private time with just my mother. And she said, "The next shift didn't show up. We have to stay 8 more hours." And I got noisy, and she had to shush me up. So she grabbed a book out of the volunteer wagon, told me to sit down and read it. And it was a book on palmistry. And I couldn't understand one word in that book. It went over my head, but I understood the diagrams, and I memorized them.
Wow.
And then I went back every day for 6 months, 2 buses, transferred, showed up there to read that book a little more because they wouldn't let me take it home.
Yeah.
So evidently that was my calling. It went like this to me. Said, "Come here."
Now, did you ever, I think from what I recall, you did get a chance to, or the opportunity to be able to track down that book. Not that exact copy.
Right, I found the book. I looked for it for 45 years. I didn't know the title or the author. It's pretty hard to find a book when you don't know that, but I was 10 years old. You don't pay attention to that then. So eventually I found that I was doing a fair in Boulder, Colorado, because we lived in Colorado at that time. And this man sat down and he said, "You sound just like my book." And I said, "Is it Oriental Palmistry?" He said, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" I described the book to him, the cover, what it looked like. He says, yeah. And I said, was it written by a Chinese man? He said, that's right. He gave me the book. He had it. But this is the best part. I was born in Ohio. I met him in Colorado. He bought it in Maine at an antique store. So he said, I'll give you that book if you give me your very first one, which was May I See Your Hand. It was a book that I did from memory from that book. So we traded.
Wow.
Isn't that a story? That's the truth. So he hands it to me in a plastic bag like this, and all the pages are falling down. I had to have it rebuilt.
Yeah.
It was that old. It was written in 1895.
Wow.
So that's called an antique. And it was in 1949, I think, when I read it the first time.
Yeah. Man. So, you're still doing palm readings, and you're also and that's a lot of psychic fairs and stuff like that.
At this age, I cut down. Instead of 30 a year, I'm only doing 20. So I do Spirit Fest whenever I can get to them. Some of them are too far away. I can't drive 3 hours each way anymore.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
I do some in Sarasota. I do them around where I live.
Yeah, mainly in the state of Florida.
Well, no, I did one in Gulfport, which is by Tampa. I do them in Tampa. I do Northport. I do Port Charlotte. The next big one I'm doing is a Spirit Fest in Punta Gorda.
Okay.
And that's in June. I think I wrote it down too, the 8th and 9th of June.
Oh, okay.
So, and then July, I have one in Sarasota. So people get to me. They look on my website and they follow and they find where I'm going to be. And I have followers. This is funnier. I have 2 little old ladies that go to everything I do and they go, we're sisters. And I know that. We're 88 and 89. Well, I'm 84. I don't go around bragging about it. And they go, we dress alike. People think we're twins, but we're a year apart.
Yeah.
And then I go to another thing and they're there and they go, we're sisters. We go to everything you do. So, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Now, before we move further, how can people find you? Even though it's scrolling on the bottom for those who are listening to the
website.
show.
If they would like to get a palm reading, they would go to Palmist, Palmist, at myrnalou.com. So, or they could look at my website and it tells you how to do it. And I do PayPal, cash, or checks. So in the mail, they wouldn't send cash. So.
Wow. Now, have you read for any people that we know? Any famous?
There's
any
a whole list here. It's pages and pages long. I'll just tell you the most important one I read, or the most famous one, was Dr. Gerald Ford. He used to be our president. And we did a party that an agency sent me to up in the mountains of Colorado. It was in a place called Eagle's Nest, and we were up really high. And the only way you could get there was by ski lift. So I took my poster and my easel and all my stuff, and I jumped off the ski lift, and I got there, and I set up my little spot. And I was doing a whole line of people because we got paid for the whole evening. And I didn't look up, and this man sat down, and I go, oh, it's Gerald Ford. So he goes, if you don't tell me something that only I know, I'm going to tell everybody around here that you're a big faker. And he was a keynote speaker at this event. Yeah. So I made a little prayer to myself, which I never do. And I said, please, God, make me brilliant. And I told him something only he knew. And he jumped up and goes, I'm a believer. And there were 4 Secret Service with him, and they all were on me like you wouldn't believe. Then they got my line. They all wanted a reading, too. So that was the most famous one. But then I did, Irma Bombeck was a famous author. So I read her before she ever wrote her first book. I worked at Dayton Daily News, and so did she. And I was setting type on a linotype type machine. Hot molten metal came down. And then I would proofread her work. And she never found a single mistake on any of my work that I did for her. So I told her one day she was going to be an author of 5 books, and she was. And then I did Phil Donahue, and I was 16 the same year. I was a senior in high school, and I told him that he was going to be the first TV talk show host. He was 17. Wow. Turned out he was. He went to college, came out, and he was the first TV talk show host. Then I did people that you would have known. I'm just going to look at my list a minute. Jackie Gleason,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
the early 70s, and I lived in Hollywood, Florida at that time, and I did him. I did Myrna Loy, who I was named for, who's a movie star, and she wrote on her picture to me, "Dear Myrna, do they ever call you Myra?" And we both cracked up because that MY looks like my. So I tell people to think of my and then Erna, RNA, and then you got Myrna. Okay. I did John Travolta, Clint Eastwood, and the mayor of Santa Barbara when I lived there. I did Sly Stallone, Kevin Bacon, Ivana Trump. I told her she was going to have a divorce, and she said, "Oh no, me and the Donald are like that," and they got a divorce.
Oh,
I did Chevy Chase, Arsenio Hall, David Brenner. Jackie Jordan is my Hollywood agent who's trying to get my book made into a movie.
yeah.
And that's the book over here, The Cruise to the Other Side, the novel. Wayne Dwyer, Daniel Brinkley, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young was a band. I did the whole band. The mayor of Denver and his wife. Pat Boland, who was the owner of the Broncos football team and the whole Broncos team, plus John Elway, which most people know who that was.
Yeah.
Jan Fowler was California Mrs. America. Marla Martinson, I met on the internet, and she's a matchmaker in Hollywood, California. Patricia Richardson's TV show, I was on it 5 times. Peter Boyle's radio show, and he had a contest, who wants to be a talk show host. Out of 16 applicants, I came in number 2. So I said, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Then I did Dr. Stephen Greer, who started the Disclosure Project, and I'm sure you know who that is with UFOs. Stanton Friedman, and I met them at a MUFON event that I worked at. And he was a physicist, and he gave up his career to chase UFOs and research it.
Yeah.
So those are all famous people, and there's more. I couldn't even think of all
Oh,
of
I'm
them.
sure.
But in all these years, I've been doing it, and I've actually been doing it 70 plus. Because I'm 84, and I was 10 when I started. So at 10, I wasn't very good. At 16, I was getting better. And the boys would say, "Are we going to win the football game?" And they give me their hand, and that's not on there. And I'd say, "Let me see." Got a lot of dates. Then I went to college. There were 41 fraternities and sororities where I went to school in Athens, Ohio, Ohio University. And I got into every one of them but one. So I was the entertainment in 40 fraternities and sororities.
Wow.
Those years I charged $1 a hand because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I just never stop. I've read people in the back of a limousine while it's driving to a Western show. You know, just if I get hired to do it, I do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, are you still, when you were on the last time, you were offering, or you were doing some teaching engagements where people can sign up?
Well, I would give a discount. Yeah, I teach classes in this, but I can't do it on the internet. Yeah. I have to be able to really work with the person, and I do 10 people at a time when I do it. But when I was on last time, I said I had a special. So now I charge $120 a reading, and I would do it for $100 if anybody said they saw it on your show.
So yeah, for those who are watching, listening, and when this airs, contact her and type in the code word seance. That's the
F-A-N? Fan?
Seance. Seance is the code word. So if they say seance, that way they know where they
then I'll know it's yours.
from. Yeah.
Because I did another show on Monday, and some are coming in already from that one. Yeah. They have to put their name on it, their hand. They can take a picture of it with their phone and send it to my email, which is that Palmist@Myrna. Then they have to send money or however they're going to pay. Yeah. And then tell me if they're left or right-handed and what they want to know. They could say, "I'm interested in my future job," or "I don't have a soulmate. Am I ever going to have one?" Or "What is a soulmate? Tell me, teach me." Yeah. And I go through that whole thing.
And you also have a book about soulmates, correct?
Right. And that book is going gangbusters. I've had that reprinted so many times. When I do a show, I usually sell between 12 and 16. You bought it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So when I sell that book, people go home and read it in 1 hour, and then I end up having to send wedding presents later because they get it. They get what I'm talking about. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want one. They say, yeah, I want a soulmate. And I say, well, what is it? And they go, I don't know, but everybody says they want one, so I do too. That isn't how it works.
Yeah.
It means you have to connect with someone on a lot of
Yeah.
different levels.
Huh.
Okay.
So the soulmates and the palmistry, hence the title of our show today. How to use it to find yours. How do
Okay,
we use palmistry in order to find our soulmate?
Well, first of all, we all have 5 basic lines on a hand. I don't know if you can see this hand or not, but I'm going to try and put it up there. Can you see this?
Yeah, bring it up a little bit. There we go. Yeah.
Okay, the love line is the line that starts on the thumb side of the hand and goes across and looks like a wishbone. See that wishbone right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the wishbone is 2 people who connect. A soulmate mark is something else by the wrist, and it's this mark right here. Oh, no, there, that mark right there. Yeah. So a soulmate looks like a pyramid or a ball or some kind of a mark that's right by the wrist where the hand and the wrist are connected. So you have to have the love line first. You can't have a soulmate unless you're best friends with the person first anyway. Then you build it, you cultivate a friendship and you build it into something more. So on a hand, I can look and see, well, you had a soulmate, the person passed. They say, yeah, that's right. How do you know that? I say, well, show more than one. So we have however many times you've been back. Yeah. So if a person's past life shows 7, they have 7 chances. I had 1. You saw my husband in here. That's mine. And I'm on the 3rd marriage. So if the first one didn't pass away, I'd still be there. But he died. So that was 20 years. Second one was 13, and that was a divorce. This one is 31. We had 1 date. I'm waiting for the second one. We never had it. We never got a second date. Just moved in. I don't believe in that kind of thing, but it happened. Yeah. When you hear the click in the head, you just know.
Yeah.
And I heard the click, and so did he, at a bowling alley. I met him at a Jewish singles bowling league.
Yeah. Wow.
That's funny. So we just celebrated 28 years married, together 31.
Congratulations.
So I tell people we're married 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because basically you are when you connect on a lot of levels. So it's mental, emotional, physical, sexual. There's a lot of ways. And you connect like that, you know. It isn't just, I think you're my soulmate. It means you've been through some stuff together before, and this time you reconnect. Yeah. And now you don't have bickering, competition, sexual tension, frustration, all that stuff you had before because you're done with that. You did that in another lifetime with that same person. This time you're you, they're them, and you just move forward. It's called growth. And if you don't grow in a relationship, it goes nowhere, and then it's finishing.
True.
Then it gets old. Now,
there's another term that's been getting more popular lately, and that's twin flames.
Right.
What is the difference between a twin flame and a soulmate?
Well, I never seen a twin flame, so I can't tell you. I studied it, I look at it, but it just means one person who splits apart and becomes 2. But I don't understand that. If I don't understand it, I can't tell other people about it.
True.
So I just know what a soulmate is. I don't know what twin flame is exactly. But it's probably 1 in millions of people that get it. Very rare. Soulmates aren't that popular either. It's not, everybody doesn't get one. You know, some people do. Some people have more than one. Some people keep searching and hoping. And I did a girl once who was 34 years old, and she was on her 4th divorce. Yeah. And I said, "You've been married 4 times?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, don't say yes next time." She said, "Well, they want to get married, and I always say okay." I said, "Don't say okay this time." You know, because it wasn't right.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a while to get to know a person. Actually, really know a person. But that's the thing. Well, if it takes that long to get to know a person, it might not. Yeah.
No, you should know them pretty good before you say yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, man. So what are the most common questions that people ask you?
Well, they say, where's my soulmate? That's the first one from women. Or am I ever going to find love? Or I can't seem to find love. What's wrong with me? Then the men want to know about finances and how's their future look and what's going to happen with their job and are they going to get passed over? So those are the most common questions. But then people say, I don't know if I should move or not. If I move, should I sell my house or rent it? And then find something else. So then I look in their hand and I can see that.
Yeah.
And I could say, well, I don't think you should be renting. I think you should sell this, take the money and buy another one so that you're not renting somewhere else, because then you have nothing to show for it.
Mm.
You know, it's better to own property than to just rent it.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the women's side, on the female side, it's more of a relationship question, and then on the male side, it's more of a finance business.
Except that there are men who come here for readings and they start crying and they put their head down and they go, Mama, and I have to leave the room. They're calling their mother because they're all upset. And I go, oh my God. And they go, I must have allergies. I was calling on my mother to help me. And I said, because they want somebody in their life and they're lonely.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then when I put people together, which they call me the matchmaker, but I'm really not. I don't do that on purpose. It just happens. If I know somebody that I know is a match for somebody else, I might call the woman and say, can I give your name and phone number or your email and your name out to so-and-so? And they say, yeah, if they want to get in touch with me, it's up to them to call me. And then I call the guy and I say, if I got a girl for you. And then they call and I end up having to send them a wedding present. So if I know it's a match, it usually is.
Yeah.
That's why I said 95. I get 90 to 95% hits that are right.
Wow. So you've got good memory too, because before we started the show, you said you don't have to bring your hand up. I remember that. I remember every single hand I've ever done. That's amazing.
I mean, I don't know why, because my husband said I'm a savant. But the thing is, I'm not brilliant on anything except this. And this, I just tune in on it and go for it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what I told you. Or you want to show your hand, you could show it. I said you have a long lifeline. And it looks like 92, but maybe more. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the lifeline is the one over here that starts on the baby finger side, goes across towards the middle of your hand. And each finger's worth 20 years. So you go 20, 20, 20, that's 60. 10 in between each one is 70, 80, 90, and you're showing 2 more. So it looks like 92, but that doesn't mean that's how long you could live. That's who you come from. That's your gene pool. That's part of your background. You could go to 100 if you want to. If you exercise, you eat right, you know, you pay attention to business, and you don't let yourself go, you could go as long as you want. So it just means that proves your destiny is you came on this planet to be that many years old for sure. Okay. Then the love line, I said you were going to meet somebody. And I said you were going to end up having a mate. And did that happen?
Almost.
It was on the verge.
Something weird happened.
I know, but it was on the verge. I saw that.
Yeah.
So, because I met her. Isn't that the woman I met? Yeah.
I think.
You did one of the Spirit Fest things, and she was with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I told you on work you were going to expand, and you were going to really hit it big once you started, and that it would be like a little bubble that would keep going until it just became a giant one. And it's growing. You started it from nothing, and you built it to 2 shows already. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it has definitely evolved since.
And now people know who you are, and they're subscribing, and that's all good.
Yeah.
They always want more, you know. That's why I haven't retired at this age. I should have a long time ago. I was going to quit at 80 for sure. And I couldn't because I have too much fun. I enjoy what I do. And if you get a kick out of what you do and it's that up, why would you quit it? Because the up is better than the down. And you just sit home all day long on the couch isn't me. So I'm writing the 5th book now, too.
Oh, so okay. So you're on the 5th. Okay. The 5th book. And that's the one that's behind you.
No, these 4 are already here.
Okay.
I'm writing a 5th one.
Oh, okay.
I'm writing another cruise ship book.
Oh, wow.
So I'm halfway there. I have it all mapped out, and I know what I'm going to do, but I'm only halfway done.
Mm.
So when I get it finished, I know the title. It's going to be called What Happened on Emerald Deck. And on the ship, every floor is called a deck, and Emerald is the name of one of the floors.
Huh. So, you can also, how would you go about if somebody were to contact you through the internet? You can do the readings through the internet, but they would
No,
have
I
to send
can't. They have to send me their email. They have to email me their hand, because
Okay.
if they did it like you just did it, I don't see all the lines.
True.
Half of it disappears. Same thing with the fax. I can't read a fax. I get some lines, but not enough to do a complete. When I do a real reading on the internet, it's 5 or 6 pages typed, single spaced. That's a big, long thing to read through. But people love it because I go into detail on each part of whatever I'm doing, what I'm talking about at the time. So I did a woman in Canada said she was crying through the whole thing. Well, I don't mean to make people cry, but I was right about every single thing in there.
Yeah.
So she said, you're right, I have to readjust my thinking and change who I am because I need to reinvent myself. I'm a mess. I didn't call her a mess in the thing, but I said, you need to change this, you need to change this. Change is important. It's good for everybody. Same old isn't good. Then you get in a rut. She was in a rut. So now she can't wait to see me. She's going to meet me. I'm going to Canada on a vacation. And when I'm there, I told her where I was going to be. And she said, I will drive hundreds of miles. I have to see you again.
Yeah.
So I only met her on the internet. I don't even know her.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that without seeing her.
Man. See, that's amazing, of the network of people through your life and the readings that you've done. The famous people, the normal people, 56, 59, I'd say 60. You're probably at what, 60,000?
Almost at 6. I'm at 59,992 right now.
Wow.
So I just did a fair in Gulfport, which is over by Tampa.
Yeah.
And if that had been a really busy fair, I would have hit 60,000. But I only did 8 readings. That never happens to me in a million years. But some people didn't get any, or they got 1. So my friend and I had the most. She had 9, I had 8.
Yeah.
Because nobody hardly came. They forgot to advertise it. So normally I do 40 in a weekend, 20 each day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would like to say that when I do Punta Gorda Spirit Fest in June, which is the 8th and 9th, I'm giving a talk on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And usually the room holds 50 people, and I have standing room only in the back. I fill the whole room.
Wow.
Plus more. And nobody leaves. Nobody gets sleepy. Nobody walks out. They just sit there mesmerized because I read one line on every single person that's in there.
Yeah.
I run around the room and I do every single person. That takes a lot of energy. And then I get back to my table at 2 o'clock when it's over, and I'm jazzed. I'm high as a kite. The next person who sits down gets a really good reading because I'm up there, because I was in all those hands.
Wow. So again, how can people reach out to you? How can they?
They can go to my website, which is www.myrnalou.com, or they can email me at Palmist, PALMIST, @myrnalou.com. So either way, they get to me. So I did a show out of out of Canada too, a long time ago. I got 40 readings from one show. That was amazing. He had only subscribers, but it was only people like yours that like metaphysical things or things having to do with the occult or UFO stuff. And so I got a lot of activity out of that. Huh. And they don't get it very much there, so they liked it.
Now, how old is the art of palmistry?
Well, there's 15 kinds of palmistry in the world. So Hindu Indian is the one most people know, and that came in the year 2000 BC. And in 3000 BC, this one, what I do is Oriental, started with the Oriental people, not the Indian. Yeah. So it just evolved, but there's Grecian, Romania, there's all different kinds. Mediterranean. So some people think palm reading is kind of gypsy-ish, but the one I do isn't. It happens to be scientific.
Mm.
And in fact, when I wrote the first book called May I See Your Hand, I wanted it to be authentic, and I remembered what I saw from the book I memorized. That's what this is all about. Everything that I memorized is in there. And when I got that man's book, it validated it. But anyway, I wanted it to be authentic, and so I looked up a few things, and it said in 1967, in America, now I'm losing my voice, every single resident or intern in American universities who was studying to be a doctor had to take one whole day of palmistry.
Wow.
So when you go to the doctor, they stick their hand out and say, come on in, and they shake your hand, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're feeling your hand. Is it wet? Is it dry? Is it soft? Is it hard? What kind of handshake do you have? Are you fishy? Are you strength? And then they're looking you over, and while you're talking and they're filling out paperwork, or you're filling out paperwork, they're going, uh-huh, mm-hmm, and they're checking you over. Then they look on your hand. You don't know it, but they're looking.
Yeah.
And they can tell on a newborn baby. This is why they made them do it. Newborn babies come into the world, they have a hand this big, but they could have a heart defect, a congenital problem with the liver, or different things, and they can see that right away.
Wow.
On a newborn, they know what they're dealing with. Now, if they don't have the bracelets at the wrist right here, and we all have bracelets, if you crinkle your hand up and do like that, you'd see a bunch of rows here.
Yeah.
If a baby comes in with not even one row, it isn't going to make it.
Wow.
Isn't that something? So
That
this is not gypsy. It's definitely scientific.
Huh. And
So
then you also have a technique too that I've noticed that you have people I wouldn't say slam, but lack of a better word, slam their hands down on the table.
Right. Well, I came up with a couple of fun things. So first, every time anybody sits down, I say, fold your hands up like this. Just fold your hands. So they fold them, and I say, what thumb is on top? So if the left is on top and you're right-handed, which is what you did, isn't that what you did? Take a look.
Oh wait, like
Put your hands together. Now, which thumb is on top?
My left is on top.
Because you're creative in your thought processing. That's what that means. Okay, but it means you were born left-handed, but aren't you right-handed?
Yep, I'm right-handed.
I know that. So I read your right hand. That's how I know. But so my left comes up on top too, and that just means I like what I like. You like what you like, but it means we're good at what we do because we're thinking with both sides of the brain. So that's the first thing I do. Then I have people take their hand, right or left, whichever one they eat and write with, shake it 5 times and slap the table. And however the fingers land is how I read it. So each finger means something. Space in between means something. Then I do the reading. Yeah. So it's my rigmarole. It's how I get in, but it's my way to touch the person. If I touch them, I get it. So the lines are probably my tool. You know, so I met you because you were doing that radio. What were you doing? Like a thing out in the lobby.
Emotional.
You were doing a man on the street lobby type thing. And I just ran up and said, why don't you interview me? And you said, well, okay, let's talk to you now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what made me do that because I was just on my way back to my booth, but I stood there and talked to you. Then I was late for the next, person. They were waiting on me. But that was okay because that's who I am. My degree is in radio, TV, journalism. So I'm not afraid of microphones and, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Microphones, cameras. I tell people who are on the show that, I've never done this or scared. I said, just relax. Just pretend you're not.
Just act like it's not there.
Yeah. Just act like you're on a Zoom call with your a friend of yours and stuff. It's not formal.
Yeah, right. People can do that too. So here's the thing. If you like what you're doing and you help people, and that's the whole reason why I do it is to help people, I get the up out of it because I helped them.
Yeah.
And I almost never get anybody to say, no, you were wrong. They might say that. When I get all done, they go, I lied. I just wanted you to think that, but I have to tell you the truth. That was awesome. That was right. You got me 100%. I have to shove them out the door. Sometimes they don't want to leave. They like it so much.
Yeah. And I'm sure you get a lot of skeptics. Just people
I get a
that,
lot of people. Well, I work 25 hours a week when it's not a show week. When I'm
hmm
not doing it, when it's a show week, it's over 40.
wow.
But a normal week, I do 25. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. That's 4 right there, 4 hours. I do that 4 days a week. That's 20. Then the other few hours, I'm doing paperwork, making copies or writing, keeping records of what's going on, and
Yeah.
a lot of work. It doesn't just, I don't just sit there and do it. I actually track everything.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
document every hand that I do. So
that's amazing.
that's how I know
That is
yours by
amazing.
heart. Because I told you what number you were, the day you sat down,
Yeah.
which you don't remember. But then I had you write your name and your email, and then I feel the handwriting, and that's how I really get in. And then the slapping on the hand is I refine it so
Yeah.
that I can
Yeah.
see, oh, you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, you're this, you're that, whatever it is, it's all on the hand.
hmm
So when a person does that with their hand, the first finger is called index, right?
Yeah.
Index finger.
Yeah.
Okay, it starts with the letter I and it means me, the person. So
Ah,
I look on the index finger on everybody because that's them. Then the baby finger is communication. And everybody some people have the gift of gab like you do or I do. And some people go, and they can't get it out. They can't talk at all. So it's all different kinds of people,
yeah.
So I can tell by the baby finger. Then the long finger is middle and it means mainstream. And that means if they're willing to go out and try new things or if they're going to stay home on the couch. So you
Mm.
got couch potatoes and doers and movers and shakers. And I'm a mover and a shaker. I go out and do stuff, Then there's the ring. The ring finger is really the dreaming finger, and it just means how they visualize in their mind's eye. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean in bed dreaming. It means manifesting, thinking things through, dreaming it up, and then go do it. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing because it's not only your palm. It's not only the face of your palm. It's everything.
It's everything.
It's
It's the
both sides.
fingernails. It's the fingerprints. It's the fingernails. It's a lot to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So the fingerprints are important, but I don't go into that too much because by the time I've written 5 or 6 pages, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours of me typing. I go, that's enough. Stop. But mine says I should write because I'm a writer. It says I should be out there because I am gregarious and I'm outgoing. So everybody's different.
Yeah.
So I can't change. I have never been shy a day in my life. So there are people that were shy and have to grow out of it, and people who are always shy, and I don't know what that is because I've never been there.
Yeah.
Even at 2, I would sing Jingle Bells off key to anybody that would listen.
Wow. So before we wrap up the show,
Okay.
what would you like to offer as like a takeaway?
Well,
For
people
our
want to
audience?
know, what does palmistry do for me? So here's what I tell them. It allows you to experience the peace of knowing that you're in the right place in work, play, if you're relationships. And if you're not, I can point it out. I don't tell people to dump the guy or quit this or stop that. I just show you what's on there. It's a potential. So it reveals hidden talents and abilities. It identifies your strength or your weakness. It makes aware of others, how perceive us, how other people see you. It teaches us who we really are. It shows your real purpose in life. It helps you overcome obstacles. It lets us take control of our destiny. It enriches us to the area of love, career, happiness. It allows us to deal with our emotions. Those are a lot of things, and that's all from one palm reading. And I can get that in a 15-minute reading at a fair,
Huh?
all that.
Yeah.
So when it's an hour one, can you imagine how intense it is?
Yeah.
It's in depth and it's this first thing person sits down, they think they're going to get a light fluffy thing and they leave and they go, that was intense. And I
Yeah.
go, yeah, because I
15
tell the
minutes.
truth.
Yeah, 15 minutes. I mean, I remember that 15 minutes. It felt like an eternity
But it
with all
went
that
quick,
information
but it
coming
goes
in.
quick
Crazy.
too when you're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
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 So people enjoy what I do. That's the whole thing. If they like it and they get what they need out of it, and I get what I need out of it, we're using each other, but in a good sense, in a good way.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I want to get 60,000 and something before I retire, and I'll be there any minute.
Yeah.
I'm almost there.
Now, are you going to continue like teaching and instructing people?
I'm going to keep working for the next year at least.
Yeah.
But and then maybe at 86, I don't want to have a magnifier in my hand and go, "Let me see your hand, dearie."
Right.
I don't want to be that old. But I can't help. I can't stop now.
Yeah.
I have too many people and too many irons in the fire of things I'm wanting to get accomplished. So I want to accomplish them. I'm going to do it. I kill myself, but I get it.
Absolutely. I hear you.
So I'm a hard worker. That's what that all comes down to. So there's laid back people who don't work very hard and people who really work hard. And I'm one of the really work hard ones.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I wear all the hats on this show. If I could farm stuff out, I would, but I can't afford it. So I got to do it myself.
No, right. So you're doing the editing, everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but you get a kick out of it too, don't you?
And that's what makes it cool. That's what makes it fun. Is I enjoy doing it. I've always been an artist.
Because you're having a good time doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I'm ready to ask for help,
eventually you're going to have so many people working under you that I told you that. I said you're going to be so busy that you'll have to have 4 or 5 employees under you. I don't know if you remember I said that.
Yeah.
I didn't say it would happen tomorrow.
True.
It might take you 5 years to get there, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
You'll end up having a corporation or, an LLC.
Yeah.
You have to have your own company.
What was it, about a year ago? No, I did the 1 year renewal on my LLC for the state of Florida.
Oh, you have that. Okay.
And have it registered in the state as a media and publishing company. So
okay.
Step 1. And then got to start somewhere.
Well, it'll just go from there, Yeah. Eventually you'll have a studio, a big one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you'll have people come in person.
Mm.
See? And then it could still be a podcast, but it might not be. It might be the real thing.
Yeah.
Might be a
live TV show.
Might be you do the show and you send it to NBC or CBS or somebody big and they put it on.
Yeah, the syndication. Like a syndication show or something. Yeah.
Well, that's what I saw on your hand anyway.
Yeah.
It says it's going to have a lot of employees, at least 4, plus you, and you're going to delegate the work out, and then it's going to be syndicated, and then the money streams will be coming in to you from all different places.
Mm.
And I told you streams of money. I don't know if you remember hearing that. We didn't tape record yours. We should have.
No. Yeah, we should have.
But you were having trouble with your equipment that day. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
You couldn't get it to work right.
Yeah, it was doing some really crazy.
Well, let's just do it anyway. I can't make it work.
Myrna, blessings, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
You were very, very welcome, and humbled to have you back on the show.
It was nice to talk to you again too. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been just under a couple years.
Yeah, it's about 2 years.
Yeah, I think. Well, we're going on.
I saw you in Orlando.
Yeah.
A year ago, maybe, or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, that was close to your house. You weren't that far away from Orlando.
Yeah, that was
far. If you had to come to Punta Gorda, it would be a 4-hour car ride on I-25. Yeah. I mean, on 75 and on 4.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic's terrible now.
Oh, I know. It's getting crazy here in the state. Whoa, man. Defensive driving.
Okay. Well, you have to.
You
have to look at the guy in front of the guy in front of him because you don't want to get in a wreck.
It's like everybody now has to drive as though you're a motorcycle or as though you're riding a motorcycle. Really? Defensive driving.
Oh, so nobody will get you on one side or the other side. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you,
Myrna. Blessings and thank you again, my friend.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Conscious Radio Network's The Seance, and we will see you next time.